the stage. You may have seen him on HBO, you may have seen him on Comedy Central or Showtime. Very funny. Coming out to the stage, Mr. Jack Simmons. Jack Simmons, give a hand.
You sound alive for tonight. We like that. Thank you very much, and thank you, and welcome to Atlantic City. If you can have a great time here, where can you have a great time? Live every day as if it's your last. Right, folks? I did that last summer. I picked the day I lived. I did everything on that day that I wanted to do. No fear of consequences. My case comes up next month. You know what I say? What happens in Atlantic City stays on my mini-cam. I've always felt that way. I feel like that we have to, this is going to be a clean comedy show, but it's not going to be politically correct, and you know what I'm talking about. It's been in the news. And quite frankly, I want people to speak the truth. Because comics are the only ones who can talk anymore without fear of being, you know. But even it happens to us. Like, after a show one night, a woman talked to me and said, you said the word old in your show. You can't say the word old, it's very judgmental. You have to say chronologically advanced. I said, okay, so if I go to the bar and have a couple of drinks, I guess I'm not drunk, I'm gravity challenged. But here's the good news, folks. If you sleep with everyone you meet, you're not a slut, you're not a whore, you're not a tramp. No. You're a people person. You just get along with everybody, that's all. I was raised in a large, loving Irish Catholic family. Not my own, but still a very nice one. And my dad caught me drinking at a bar when I was 16 years old. There was always like one bar in a town where you grew up in where they would serve underage kids. I'm sitting there knocking back a couple, watching a game. I'm 16. My dad walks in, grabs me by the ears, pulls me. I said, oh my God, how'd you know where to find me? He goes, how many bars you know that have a bike rack? Damn, I didn't see that. But Irish people do drink, that's true. People talk about Irish drinking, but even so, you ever been to an Irish wake? Irish wake is a pretty good celebration of life. My Uncle Leo died, kind of an unusual wake, $5 cover, 3-drink minimum. You know it's going to be a great wake when you walk into a funeral home and get your hand stamped at the front door. And my parents married many years, have 5 brothers and 1 sister. I don't know how my dad did it. I don't know how my mom and him stayed together. I asked him one time, you know. I said, geez, Dad, you've been celebrating your 50th anniversary. What was the glue that kept you and Mom together? Was it the love? Was it the sex? Was it the family? What was it? He goes, oh, it was the family. I said, really? He goes, yeah, none of us wanted custody of you bastards. They were parents. They weren't our best friends. You know, you hear that, like, be your child's best friend. Oh, bullshit. Be a parent. They can find a best friend anywhere. Be a parent. And when this whole thing came out of being your child's best friend, you know, I turned to my mom one day and I said, yeah, how come you didn't raise us that way? She said, let me ask you something. Do you think if you weren't our children, we'd want any of you as a friend? And Uncle Leo lived with us before he died. He was a guy, he drank a lot, and he shouldn't have drank, because when he drank, he did stupid things. Spent 5 years building a log cabin, realized he used Duraflame logs. Cabin burned down last month in exactly 3 hours. But just good, I can see that you're not a politically correct crowd, and you can see how people get so uptight about every little thing that's going on, you know. I walked into a Kentucky Fried Chicken the other day. There was a black woman behind the counter. And I walk in and I give her my order, and she says, well, sir, do you prefer the white meat or the dark meat? I said, I don't care. It's all beautiful. It makes no difference to me. You can use that if you want to. You know what it's like. My dad said, son, it's great to be in love, but it's better to be in debt. This way you know somebody's always thinking about you. But at least we're here and we're free. We are free, and that's the greatest thing about America. But even here tonight, I appreciate freedom more than ever, because about a year ago, they took a couple of comics up to a prison to do a show. And they kind of put us behind a jail cell there, you know, just see what it feels like. And I freaked out. I said, I could never survive this. I don't care. I could never survive it. I thought, you know, have you ever seen these guys in prison just sitting there, you know, just kind of like waiting for their time to be up? And I thought, you know what probably the worst night in prison is? At night, they set the clocks back an hour. Of course, 8 months later, the clocks go forward an hour, which is great unless you're being executed that morning. Wouldn't that suck? Your last day on Earth is daylight savings time? They come to get you at 5 instead of 6? What are you guys doing here? Spring forward, fall back, Shoney, let's go. So you have to appreciate your life and understand what goes on and just go with the punches, laugh, come out to comedy clubs, because we never know, you know, all of a sudden you start to look around and things are changing. Like, I realized, I knew I was getting older when every time I went out to buy music, everything I want was marked down to $1.99. The baby boomers will be the senior citizens. It's going to happen. It's happening already. The baby boomers are going to be the senior citizens. It has to happen. It's going to be different, though. Imagine us 30 years from now holding hands in a nursing home, sitting around singing Stairway to Heaven. How's that going to sound on the accordion? If there's a basher in you, put in your teeth for this one in your head, girl. Got some gay friends that are coming to the show after tonight. They got married. I'm happy for them, but they have been doing nothing but fighting for the last 6 months, and they want me to be the referee, and I go, yeah, that's just what I'm looking forward to. Another night of he said. So I give them courage for trying marriage, because marriage is tough. I was married once, and I was one of the people that married 5 or 6, 7 times. Don't you kind of hard to take it serious after 4 or 5? I do. It's not the same. You know, I think if you're married more than 3 times, instead of saying I do, you should have to say you'll do. So my wife, I'm not kidding around, my wife was from Iran. Well, I met her in California, but she was from Iran. And she was from Tehran, but she was an American. And people, when they hear me, go, Jack, you're from that part of the country, are you crazy? I mean, why, people say, why would you marry a woman from Iran? I say, look, you know what, buddy? I slept with the enemy, so you didn't have to. And just once, I would like someone to come up to me after the show and say, Jack, thank you for your service. I know it had to be tough out there. It was tough. She's from that part of the world. When we were getting divorced, we were going through terrible fights. She would look at me and go, I will get you. I had to remember where she came from. The next morning, I'm out there starting my car going, so eventually, when you get divorced, you will end up probably on some kind of dating site. So I was on one, and I was writing back and forth with this very nice woman. And after we're communicating for about a week or so, she says to me, you know, And she says, you know, dating's so expensive and it's so chancy. I'll tell you what, why don't you just come over? I'll make you dinner. We'll spend the night here. I trust you. You trust me. Let's just see what happens. We go over there. We have a wonderful night. She says, why don't you come over next week? We'll do it again. Why don't you come over next week? We'll do it again. After about the third, time of being in her house, I said, this is amazing. I couldn't believe that I found an old-fashioned woman. And she said, I'm not an old-fashioned woman. I'm under house arrest.
That's a game changer.
Speaking of women, I mean, we may have a woman president. What do you think about that? See, yeah. For the men who don't appreciate having a woman president, I got to tell you, you're not thinking clearly. Women presidents, if we had a woman president, women have a certain way of dealing with episodes and issues that men don't. They have different kind of emotionality. That goes a long way in negotiations. Number two, women have a way of being a little more persuasive, and they can even be flirtatious, and sometimes that gets you away. And when you're dealing with the big, leaders around the world, it doesn't hurt to have that little edge. Number three, and most important, and I don't know why you don't see this, if we had a woman president, we could pay her less. How quickly you turn, folks. How quickly you turn. Oh, come on. It's comedy. Someone's got to get hurt. You know that. Maybe I should take that joke. I was doing a show in New York a couple of weeks ago. And I did the joke, and there was this woman in the front, maybe about 3 tables back, and then she goes ahead and she gets so upset, I can see it in her face, and she tried to throw a glass at me. But nothing happened, you know why?
Kiss she threw like a girl, that's why.
And speaking of Caitlyn Jenner, no, I'm sorry, am I a sexist and a chauvinist? Yes, I am definitely a chauvinist. If you go out with me, I would light your cigarette, pull out your chair, help you on with your coat. That's the part that makes me feel like a man, and I like it. If you think that's chauvinistic, that's really too bad. That's what I like to do. I think that's important. I really think, I would never, it's a lost art. I say, no, under no circumstances do you ever hit a woman. Under no circumstances should you ever hit a woman. The only time I raised my hand to my ex-wife was to block her punch. That was it. But, people now are so sensitive about everything and all of this. And the thing is that men hit their sexual peak at a different age than women do. And that changes the whole game. Women hit their sexual peak 35 to 45, and men hit it about 8 in the morning. How many guys remember the night they hit that sexual peak? How many were alone? Ladies can tell when a guy is over the hill sexually, the first 3 words he says when he's finished making love are, set the alarm. But I was raised with a good parental role models, mom and dad. And even as kids, we used to, I don't know if kids do this anymore, to get to do chores. I respected my parents. I did. I heard some kid in the mall the other day call his mother like a stupid bitch. You've seen this. She said, Johnny, get over here right now. Shut up, you stupid bitch. And I went, whoa. Try to think back if you said that to your mother or your father. If I said that to my mother, she would have killed. No, that's such a cliche. She would have killed me. She would have let me live. But I'd be parked in handicap tonight, I can guarantee you. Never let you get away with that. You just have to, I remember helping my dad in the backyard. We had one of these lawn mowers, these pull start mowers, made by Toro. You know the ones with the string and pull? My dad still has one of those. He doesn't break down and get an electric one. He's out there, it'll be a single Saturday morning, Then you get that one more determined death dad plunge. All of a sudden, the machine blows up and there's white smoke coming out, My mother goes, what's going on? Either I blew the engine or we have a new pope. That's what happens. I started out by playing a little blues harmonica. I love the blues. The old blues guys were, a lot of people think that it's all music about depression and stuff. It's not. It's actually very chauvinistic music. It was mostly sung by men about women and about the troubles that they were having. When you hear a train, this is really cool. A lot of blues guys have blues names, you know. Blind Willie Johnson, One-Legged Pete, Crippled Jimmy Jones. Call me High Blood Sugar Jack. But the old blues guys, when they sang, no matter what the situation was, they always tried to make it look like that they were in charge, you know? I'm leaving my baby. I'm leaving my baby. I'm leaving my baby 'cause she kicking me out. Good night. Thank you very much.